Hey. Good girl.
This is the story of a tiny mouse named Greta, who one day found her way into my lap and, from that very moment, became an integral part of my life, filled with tenderness and wonder. I never expected that such a small, fragile ball of fur could transform my world. It all began quite unexpectedly. One day, I came home and saw a little mouse sitting on the floor. She looked sick and vulnerable, limping slightly. I immediately realized she needed help and tried to catch her to examine and treat her. But as I approached, she climbed onto the couch and, sadly, passed away shortly after. Heartbroken, I started tidying up when I discovered her tiny baby. The little one was wrapped in a small piece of cloth, an act of a mother's last effort to protect her child. That child was Greta. Greta was so tiny and helpless. Her eyes were closed. She had no ears, and her teeth were just beginning to emerge. She couldn't even go to the bathroom on her own. When I first saw her, my heart clenched. Greta refused to eat, and her thinness was alarming. Her ribs were visible beneath her delicate skin. I tried feeding her by offering milk from my fingertips, but her tiny tongue was so small that I couldn't even feel it. She tried to suckle but didn't know how, and the milk just smeared across her tiny face.
You're such a good girl.
I used a small brush dipped in a milk mixture and tried to feed Greta. At first, it was painstaking. She struggled to learn. Every night, I fed her, gently wiping her little face clean until she finally learned to drink and started gaining weight. With each passing day, she became more lively, grasping the brush with her tiny paws and refusing to let go, showing her determination and will to live. I wanted her to get used to me and feel safe. I let her sleep on my hands or on my chest, and soon Greta began climbing onto my arm, confident that I would always be there to catch her. 2 weeks later, her eyes finally opened. It was a joyful and touching sight. Watching her learn to climb was amusing. She clumsily scrambled up and often fell, but would always get back up and try again. Greta quickly learned to jump and aim for my hand with precision. She was very demanding and couldn't sit quietly in her cage. She craved constant attention. Her baby fluff started to fall out, and she began to change the color of her fur, looking more beautiful and surprising me with her transformations each day. Over time, I noticed that people sent her toys and fun little items, but Greta preferred simple things like scraps of paper, boxes, and anything she could tear apart. My friends and I hosted parties for her, building little houses out of popsicle sticks and crafting mini playgrounds. It brought us so much joy.
Greta. Hey.
Thinking that Greta would be happier with a friend, I adopted another mouse from a shelter and named her Yellow. To my surprise, Greta was initially afraid of her new companion and watched her from afar, as if she didn't understand they were the same species. But over time, when Yellow was asleep, Greta would cautiously curl up next to her. One day, Yellow woke up to find Greta beside her, and from that moment, they became inseparable. Greta grew up to be confident, resilient, and strong, just like her mother.
Snack.
She became a symbol of survival and inner strength, bringing light and joy into my life. If you enjoyed this story about Greta and her incredible journey, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you're considering getting an exotic pet, I strongly recommend reaching out to professionals first and thoroughly researching their care. Only then can you ensure your pet has the happy, healthy life they deserve.